Welcome, welcome. This is Solo P1, episode 27 of the Debrief. And yes, we know it's late, 2 weeks late, but it is what it is. We're getting it done now. So today, Ayrton Senna, 30 years since he tragically lost his life at Imola. I don't think anyone will ever forget that. Even if he wasn't around in that era, Ayrton Senna legacy will live on. I want to dedicate this video to the greatest Formula One driver of all time. Respect to his family, respect to Ayrton Senna. He's the greatest driver. If things what he listen, statistically, when you look at his record, it's not as big, it's not as good as Lewis's or Schumacher's or even Vettel's, really. But for the time he was in Formula One, which wasn't really long, I think it was 7-8 years. It wasn't even there that long. And for what he did in a short space of time was magical. Magical. And back in his day when he used to drive Ayrton Senna, it took BALLS balls to drive them cars. There was none of this traction control, what you got on there now. These automatic settings where you can just tilt the car and the car turn. It was all manual steering. You saw the infamous video where you saw him in Monaco, Ayrton Senna driving that vehicle, that classic McLaren around Monaco, when everybody was looking at him while he was doing his pole. There's a video online, go watch it. It was absolutely amazing the way he was steering around the corner with one hand. That is amazing. And it out-qualified, I don't know who was second place, by about 3 or 4 seconds. Absolutely amazing. That's why he's won more Monacos than anyone. He's got the record there for poles and wins at Monaco. Probably the hardest track to drive on, and he's got the record. That will never be broken. I think he's won 7. But now we're here today. We're going to talk about the Chinese Grand Prix, and also we're going to talk about what's been happening on in the news. Even though we're going to do a flaming tarmac coming up soon, I still want to talk about what happened at what's going on at Red Bull and what my thoughts on it regarding Adrian Newey departing from Red Bull. So I'm going to bring in my co-accused, my partner in crime. He's TOTO. How's it going, TOTO? How's it going? Whoa. Good.
Yeah.
How's it going, bro?
Yeah, man. So if I'm a bit slow on this video,
It's okay.
the sun has really hit me today, man. It is really hit me. I'm sweating. You know, you can tell that the UK is starting to get hot. You know, with me, I'm hibernating, man. Every time when the sun comes out, I'm hibernating because I know as soon as I get out there, it's all over for me. I'm finished. But look, forget about the sun and all that rubbish. Yeah, we're here to talk about a Formula One video and how I'm feeling so far. Feeling, on the edge, obviously, because of the sun, mainly. But take the sun out of account. Yeah, I'm feeling all right.
That's cool. I was just talking about Ayrton Senna about 30 years. I saw your tweet, by the way. Respect to that tweet. 30 years since he departed from this earth. The greatest driver of all time. You've got it. He's the GOAT of Formula One. 30 years later, people still regard him as the greatest, which I tend to agree. It's not even close. He's the greatest of all time. It's what he did with cars back then where they were harder to drive. When I was talking about the Monaco, that famous pole that he done at Monaco, I think it was 1990. When he went around that corner, he had one hand while he's holding the steering wheel, one hand to balance himself. That is absolutely mad. And we're just talking about that. But now we're going to move on to the Chinese Grand Prix briefly. I'm going to talk about the Chinese Grand Prix. Max Verstappen won as we expected. The Mercedes car, probably the 4th fastest car now. We can only say the 4th fastest car. So what's your thoughts on the week? And we had a Max Verstappen 1, a Lando Norris 2, Perez 3. The Ferraris were still there. I don't think this was the best track for the Ferrari. It seemed like they were struggling a bit. So Sainz and Leclerc picked up the 4th. Sainz picked up the 5th place. So I know it's like watching paint dry. When it's coming, go on.
I think the only best part about the weekend was that Lewis was nearly getting pole. It's not just because I'm a Lewis fan. It's just when the rain came down and
Lando spoiled it.
It started to like interest a lot. And it's funny how just because Hamilton got the fastest time, they reinstate Loris's lap.
I know.
I'm not ever going to go into
mistake.
that. I'm not ever going to go.
Talk about it. Go for it. Talk about it, man.
Look, it's just this FIA. The FIA is just ruining Formula One. Basically, I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. They are ruining Formula One. Yeah, and if Hamilton didn't get that fastest time, they wouldn't even look at Norris's time. But they looked at Norris's time, reinstated it, and that's what allowed Norris. Norris did not deserve that pole at all. He did not deserve that pole at all. You know, even though he did a decent lap, Hamilton aced that lap time, man. Aced it. Got all purple sectors. Red Bull couldn't get close. This proves that Hamilton has still got it. He just needs to be in a better car. That proves that one moment where had the rain to come down. And don't get me wrong, this is not Hamilton's one of favourite tracks. It's not one of his favourite tracks at all. He loves coming here, yeah, but the fans are great, you know, for Lewis in China. But it's not one of his favourite tracks. But he still went over and done it in the rain, and this proves the skill is still there. You never lose it, man. You never ever lose it. So yeah, it's just the FIA is really, really getting on my nerves. But I just don't want to talk about the FIA at the moment. It happens every single race, and it's starting to become a normal thing now, which it shouldn't be. It's a bad thing, but it's starting to become a normal thing on what the FIA does with Max, Red Bull, and all that rubbish, right? But that was the only interesting part about this weekend. The whole weekend was paint dry. I think there was two good moments. There's one, of course, the Lewis pole, and one where we had that big, massive safety car and that big, massive pilot with Stroll. You had Ricciardo in that pile up, brake testing each other. That was the only probably one bit of entertainment I had all weekend, you know. And especially with Mercedes, since I'm a Lewis fan, right? Especially with him and how like bad that Mercedes car's doing, just makes it even worse. You know, even look, say Mercedes had a bad weekend. I'm just not going to come out and say this is a bad race weekend. There could be some good races on track. There could be good track battles on track, right? But I don't understand. These weekends are becoming more boring and more boring. You know, it's just Red Bull winning and winning. You know, I thought there was going to be a turnaround when Sainz won the Australian Grand Prix. I thought it was going to be a turnaround. You know, since Red Bull got the DNF, Sainz was pulling away from Red Bull really, really quickly. Even before Verstappen got the DNF, Sainz was pulling away from Red Bull so quickly. I was thinking Ferrari could be the ones to counter Red Bull, and it seems like they're not. It seems like the one and two Red Bull is happening more frequently now. Mostly every single race. It's either Red Bull, Perez, Verstappen, Perez. Qualifying, Perez can get 8th and still finish 2nd. Verstappen can finish 4th and still finish 1st. It's just one of them, man. It's one of those seasons, you know. Just got to hold out for new regulations, and nothing's really going to change from there.
I totally agree. It's coming. Look, there's a lot to talk about that we're going to talk about on tomorrow's video. We're going to do a flaming time up video. There's so much news. There's the Adrian Newey incident about him joining Ferrari. There's also reporting on Sky News as well, Sky Sports News, that that Mercedes have made £128 million bid for Max Verstappen to go to Mercedes. They've made that bid. Now, we're going to be talking about this on Flaming Tarmac. It's the 61st anniversary of the Flaming Tarmac, which we're going to be talking about tomorrow. That's all we're talking about tomorrow is the Flaming Tarmac. We're going to do the player lineup for football on Friday, but tomorrow all it is Flaming Tarmac. We're going to get that done. That's going to be pre-recorded again. But regarding the Grand Prix, the Chinese Grand Prix, look, Lewis Hamilton, if that pole should have stood. I agree, Toto, that pole should have stood. I believe that they took that away from him, just like they did in Abu Dhabi 2021. I'm never going to let it go. While I continue to make these videos, I'll always make that point about Abu Dhabi 2021, the day they screwed Lewis Hamilton. Even when Lewis Hamilton goes to Ferrari and Adrian, he will probably go there, and then he'll get his 9th world title. Yeah, he'll get his 9th world title. And even then, I'll still be talking about Abu Dhabi 2021 because there was no proper apology. They didn't apologize. They just said a human error. But regarding the Chinese Grand Prix, Lewis got that pole taken away from him. I've never known in Formula One history to ever know that person to get a pole and then The guy in second place had the time taken away, and all of a sudden, because the guy in front got the pole in the wet, which they wasn't expecting it, by the way, they took the time, they reinstated the time back to McLaren.
I don't remember.
I've never ever heard that before.
I know.
No.
Because usually, sorry to cut you solo. There's usually the FIA, they make a decision and they don't go back on it. They either discuss it after the race, or they make the decision on the track and do not reinstate. Because that was the case. They'll be doing the same thing with Hamilton's world title. They'll be reinstating Hamilton's world title. They're not going to do that, are they? Because they made a decision while they're at the situation, and they're not going to do anything after that, right? They could be all appealing, but there's nothing's going to happen, man. There's so many I don't know if Aston Martin was complaining about a penalty and the weekend, or McLaren or one of them teams were complaining on the weekend about a penalty, and then the FIA just couldn't bother really. Didn't even make any assumptions.
But when it comes to Lewis, they make sure they're on it.
Yeah, exactly. They'll make it on the track, but usually with a decision from the FIA, they've made that decision, right?
Yeah,
and they leave it as that. Nothing after the race. Nothing is that. It's decided on track, right? But as soon as Hamilton goes ahead and has pole position, and no one can beat his time, everyone's getting yellows. Everyone was getting greens or yellows, right? No one was getting purples like Lewis was. He aced all three sectors. But as soon as he went on top, Norris got reinstated. I've never heard of that in Formula 1 before.
No, because even the commentator didn't know, because the commentator, the commentator had to dig into his handbook and try and research it regarding talking about Crafty, and he never heard of it, and he had to bring it up, and it was some rules he explained. It was just, for me, it was just pure fluff. Nobody cared. We all knew what happened. We saw it. We're not silly. We see how it ended. But regarding the Chinese Grand Prix, I don't think it was a good Grand Prix. I thought it was absolutely boring. Qualifying was good. The sprint weekend saved it a little bit. If you wouldn't have had the sprint weekend, it probably would have been a 0. But out of 10, I'll probably give it about a 5. A 5 at best. But yeah, I'm just going to go through the final standings, how it finished, and then we'll head off. And it's just a quick, brief one. Do you know that Japanese Grand Prix that we recorded? I still don't upload it. I got to upload it tonight. I forgot. So, for people listening on the audio podcast, I know I haven't uploaded the 6 videos I need to upload. I know I've got to do it. All the races from this year. So I only do debriefs now, and I'm audio in it. So all the debriefs from this year, I'm going to be uploading them bit by bit over this weekend. So the final standing of the Grand Prix is Max Verstappen 1, Lewis Hamilton 2. Oh, Lewis Hamilton 2, yeah. I just saw the British flag and I saw the L, and I thought Lewis Hamilton, what am I talking about? So first, Max Verstappen 1, 2, Norris 3, Perez 4, Leclerc 5th place, Sainz 6th place, Russell 7th place, Alonso 8th place, Piastri 9th place, Hamilton 10th place, Hockenberg. Good for him, Hockenberg getting the points in again for the Haas, for the declining Haas. 11th, Ocon, 12th, Albon, 13th, Pierre Gasly, 14th, One Yu Joel, 15th place, Stroll, 16th, Magnussen, 17th, Sargent, 18th, Ricardo, 19th, Tsunoda, and 20th, the DNS. The DNS were Ricardo, Tsunoda, and Bottas. But One Yu Joel, I saw Victor me was really upset because he didn't get, like, One Yu Joel finished 14th. He was a bit upset regarding, because obviously he's in his hometown, first time Chinese Grand Prix, he's been there for so long, first Chinese Formula 1 driver as well. So the weight of expectations are on his shoulders. I thought he handled it well during the practice sprint races. I thought he had a decent run, but not finishing well in the race, finishing 14th place. I felt for One Yu Joel because I like One Yu Joel. I think he's a good job. He comes across a nice guy, isn't he? Yeah. So that's it, really. That's what I'm going to be heading off. So everybody's watching, please smack that like button. And for the audio people on podcast, on Spotify and iTunes, remember to recommend the video to your friends. And we're heading off now. See you later, guys. Tomorrow, the video is coming. It's going to be the best. It's going to be the best video that I've done in a while for Formula 1. It's going to be the Flaming Tarmac episode 61. Episode 61 is coming. So big up to everybody. See you later, guys. Bye.